Hello and welcome to another short drawing lesson. This week we're going to try and draw the Lamborghini Miura. So as always, try and draw as lightly as you can at the beginning and use your whole arm to get nice swooping curves, which you'll need. So the first thing is a front wheel over here. Next, another wheel, 1, 2, and say 3/4 of a wheel or 2/3 of a wheel further back than your second wheel. Next, the bottom of the car, sort of level, quite close to the ground there. And it's got quite a wide sill, another parallel line. It needs to be below the centres of your wheels. That's where that'll be. Now we need to know the overhangs for the car. So at the front we've got sort of 2/3 of a wheel, maybe 3/4. There's half, 3/4, a bit less. And it's a bit higher than the centre of your front wheel. That'll be where the tip starts. At the back we've got a similar sort of overhang, maybe 3/4 of a wheel, which would be about there. And you want to be level with the top edge of your tyre there. So that's the tail. Now we've got the tricky part. It's a curve that starts here, over the top of the front wheel, drops down a bit, goes horizontal for a bit, and then bulges over the back before dropping down towards that point at the tail. So quite tricky. Let's see how it goes. Something like that should do. At the front, we've got a slight straight section which then curves to meet the bottom of your car. And at the back, we've got a slightly sort of steeper section which again curves as if it's going to run into the bottom of your car. There we go. For the front edge of the door, you want to be about a little bit more than half a wheel further back than the front wheel. There's a little vertical line which curves a bit at the top, and your windscreen will start just about level with that. Very, very flat windscreen, really tilted. And that will then go across for a bit, and then it's going to drop down to meet the tail here. It will blend in around this point here, sort of just behind your rear wheel. Here's the basic silhouette. Next we've got a couple of lovely feature lines. So we've got one that starts just ahead of your rear wheel, starts sort of vertical, and then curves backwards. So it meets this sill just ahead of your rear wheel. Then we've got another one that starts more of a slope this way, and again curves towards the front. And that has another one inside on the door itself. We'll need this pillar here and a bit of thickness in the roof. And now we can start to put a few details on. So we've got a windscreen wiper, a rear view mirror just tucked on there. In this intake here on the door, we've got some little strakes and the classic louvers on the rear deck, very 70s detail. Here we've got a Bertone badge. You can just perhaps see a hint of the front lights, but not much. But under the nose there is a sort of vent and maybe a tiny little side repeater or reflector. At the back we've got an exhaust and a sort of bumper pad. Not too many fuzzy details on this one. There's a little air intake just in the sill there. And now I think we should try and make it look more three-dimensional. So we'll add the ground, the shadow on the ground, so that the car's not flying. And we'll show the wheels on the far side and darken the underside of the car. So this is the stage where you can press a little bit harder and shade in shadowy bits. Anything that's overhanging the underside of things, that can all be a little bit darker. Probably a bit of shadow up in there in the interior, and you might see the seat in there silhouetted, and maybe the steering wheel poking up there. As for wheel arches, the front one's fairly round. The rear one actually overlaps the wheel slightly and is slightly squared off, just like a squished circle or something. And we could just indicate with a bit of shadow that that's overhanging the rear wheel. For the wheels, we could just show a suggestion of where the rim is. And if you like, we've got 5 box shapes in the alloy wheels. And a little 3-spoked centre cap knockoff thing. Don't want to get too bogged down in those details. And that's pretty much it. I hope you found that wasn't too hard. And I've ended up with a picture that looks a bit like a Miura. Sometimes it will take a couple of tries to get it just right. For a bit of fun, I think what we could do is draw it again, this time much faster. And this time not worry so much about proportions, but more about capturing the essence of the car. So more of a gestural sketch. So we'll start with that lovely swooping curve that runs through so many sports cars. We've got the overhang there, straight bottom, overhang at the back. A couple of just suggestions of wheel arches and the sill. A very flat windscreen, quite far back. And the slope into the back. And remember those feature lines. And then the important things like the louvers. Little vents. And there we have it. It's probably in less than a minute we've got something that looks kind of Miura-like. Maybe the proportions won't be perfect, but it still kind of feels like the car we're trying to draw. So this might be more like the designers would have done in the early stages before the design was completely nailed down and set in stone. It's just kind of the essence of the Miura. Hope you enjoyed that. Do let me know how you got on in the comments. Otherwise, have a fantastic week and I'll see you for another one soon.